Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? Yes? Great. So my name is Hisham Al-Falih. It's a great honor to be here with you all, and I promise two things. One, I'm going to keep this under 10 minutes because I know everyone has a very packed schedule. And two, I promise not to talk about AI, okay? Because I know a lot of you have your AI'd to the full. So as I mentioned, I'm Hisham Al-Falih. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Lean Technologies, and today I'm going to be talking to you about rewiring the payment stack. So before I jump in, maybe just a very, very quick question to the audience. If I had to ask you, how many payments are processed every year around the world? How many would you guess? Just a couple of numbers. How much? Billions? Trillions? Yeah? That's big data. So it's 3.4 trillion payments are processed every year. And the more shocking number is actually, it's $1.8 quadrillion of payment value is transacted on an annual basis, which is just a very, very difficult number to wrap your head around it. And the reality is the complexity that exists underneath the payment system and the payment layers is actually very, very complicated. You're talking about settlement, rails, licensing, cybersecurity, fraud management, dispute handling, customer support, and a variety of other considerations that need to be taken in when you're building a PSP, when you're offering a payment offering to your customers. Now, if we think about the main payment options that exist today, the first thing that comes to mind is probably credit cards and debit cards. Well, unfortunately, I'm very sad to report here at Davos in 2026 that cards are broken. And I'll tell you a couple of stats as to why that's the case. So first and foremost, most of the transactions that happen today on e-commerce happen through cards. In fact, 60% of those transactions happen through what's called card not present transactions. And despite that, card not present transactions lead to almost 9 times higher fraud than card present. And so you're talking about a major fraud issue that merchants have to deal with. Moreover, when you think about the failure rates associated with card not present, it really is quite significant. So you're talking about 60% of checkout abandonment happens due to card not present failures. And that obviously leads to massive GDP leakage. One estimate from Adyen and Checkout is over $200 billion annually is lost in GDPs around the world due to failures within cards and card not present transactions. On the other side of the spectrum, we have to look at cross-border payments. Many of us here have used SWIFT and the correspondent banking rails to send money to family, to friends in a remittance transaction. Unfortunately, remittances are also broken. And I'll tell you why. So first and foremost, they're expensive. They oftentimes cost upwards of 6%, sometimes 10%, which is just egregious if you think about the modern day. Second from there is that they're actually quite delayed. Sometimes it takes 3 to 5 days for the payment to settle, which is quite late. And unfortunately, there's no room for customers to track those transactions as they're moving through the system. This leads to massive costs. Some businesses estimate that over $100 billion are spent on FX spreads and processing remittances. So we obviously look at another part of payments that is broken today. Why is it broken, you might ask? Well, unfortunately, it is because the incumbents are profiting. This is leading to a lot of players in the system benefiting from the status quo. They benefit from the issues and inefficiencies that exist within payment rails as we know them. And that is unfortunate, but it is the harsh truth that we have to deal with. Today, if you look at the merchant discount rates or the merchant fees that are being paid across the world, you're looking at over $350 billion being paid, which is obviously a massive amount of leakage within the system. Moreover, when you think about T+2 or T+5 settlement, that is leading to massive working capital being held up in the system, almost $2 trillion being held up. So you can now almost piece together with me the ramifications on GDPs and on economies and the delays this is happening on our world as we know it. So who do we have to solve for if we're going to design the ideal payment system? Really, there's 3 main archetypes that I want you to envisage with me. The first is the regulator, the second is the merchant, and the third is the consumer. The consumer obviously wants something that's instantly available, that's affordable, that's digital, that's seamless. The merchant wants, very understandably, the lowest fees, the fastest settlement rate, the highest acceptance rates. And last but not least, you have regulators that want to maintain stability, they want to maintain resilience in the system and make sure that it's a secure and trustworthy ecosystem for everyone. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm segueing into the punchline, which is the two payment rails that I'm going to be talking about for a couple of minutes now. The first is open banking, open finance, what's known as pay by bank. This is something that has been gaining popularity in places like India through UPI, Brazil through Pix, but it has still not reached mass adoption in our part of the world. We at Lean are working with the regulators and the merchants to make that a reality. So really embedding this pay-by-bank option allows for merchants to reduce fees, for money to settle instantly, and for customers to have a better experience. On the other side of the screen, you're going to see stablecoins. That is probably the second most hyped thing in Davos after AI. Stablecoins are obviously a big step forward compared to correspondent banking. It really allows for money to settle instantly anywhere around the world. It is easily tracked on chain, and it is obviously significantly cheaper when compared to traditional remittances. So with that, I'll end with a little bit of a brief on Lean. Lean Technologies was founded in 2019. We work with the leading merchants around the region across a variety of industries. We are really trying to drive financial innovation and embed the leading payment methods in collaboration with the leading regulators. We've processed billions of dollars in transactions across millions of customers and millions of transactions. And I'm looking forward to partnering with many of you here today and many merchants back home into making payments a better experience for everyone, inshallah. So thank you for your attention and looking forward to working together.